Myles Garrett defends Deshaun Watson amid booing controversy. Browns defensive end Myles Garrett spoke out in defense of quarterback Deshaun Watson after fans booed him while he was carted off the field with an Achilles injury. Garrett labeled Watson a model citizen and expressed disappointment in the fans' reactions during his post-game press conference. Garrett emphasized the need for support for injured players, condemning the booing as inappropriate, especially during a potentially career-altering moment. He stated, "We don't boo guys that are injured on the field. We should be ashamed of ourselves." However, Garrett's defense of Watson is contentious given the serious allegations against him. Watson faced 22 accusations of sexual assault and harassment, resulting in a significant NFL suspension and financial settlements. Many fans feel justified in their criticism of Watson, considering the gravity of these accusations, while Garrett rightly advocates for compassion towards injured players. His assertion that Watson shouldn't be judged for his past actions is more complex. Fans are navigating their feelings based on a mix of Watson's on-field performance and off-field controversies. And it's a nuanced conversation that reflects broader issues within sports culture and accountability. Andy Dalton throws brutal pick six just minutes into Panthers matchup with Commanders. In a disheartening start to the game, Andy Dalton's attempt to make a simple play turned disastrous, resulting in a 67-yard pick six by linebacker Dante Fowler Jr. just minutes into the Carolina Panthers matchup against the Washington Commanders. Under pressure on a third down, Dalton tried to dump the ball off to running back Miles Sanders. But the pass went behind him, landing straight in Fowler's hands and allowing him to sprint to the end zone. This blunder set the tone for a tough afternoon for Dalton and the Panthers, who have struggled in recent weeks. Dalton, making his fifth start after taking over from Bryce Young, faced mounting pressure throughout the game. He had previously thrown 2 interceptions in last week's loss to the Atlanta Falcons, and his struggles continued with another pick later in the first quarter. Despite Dalton's efforts, completing 11 of 16 passes for just 93 yards, the Panthers were overwhelmed by the Commanders, who cruised to a 40-7 victory. Backup quarterback Marcus Mariota stepped in for the injured Jaden Daniels, throwing for 205 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Brian Robinson contributed 71 rushing yards and a touchdown. With this loss, the Panthers fell to 1-6 on the season. As they look to bounce back, they'll face the Denver Broncos next week, hoping to snap their losing streak and find some offensive rhythm. Commanders QB Jaden Daniels leaves blowout win over Panthers early, ruled out with rib injury. The Washington Commanders cruised to a commanding 40-7 victory over the Carolina Panthers on Sunday. But the win was overshadowed by the early exit of rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels due to a rib injury. Daniels left the game in the first quarter after taking hard hits during a run, moments after leading the Commanders to an initial 10-0 lead. After feeling pain and grabbing at his ribs, Daniels attempted to throw on the sideline but was ultimately ruled out just after halftime. His mother later provided a positive update on social media, but specifics about his injury remain unclear. He finished the game with 2 completions on 2 attempts for 6 yards and 50 rushing yards on 3 carries. Backup quarterback Marcus Mariota stepped in and led the team effectively, finishing 18 of 23 for 205 yards and 2 touchdowns. After a shaky start, Mariota orchestrated a touchdown drive that extended Washington's lead to 17-0. Running back Brian Robinson Jr. contributed significantly, scoring a touchdown and racking up 71 rushing yards. On the other side, Andy Dalton struggled for the Panthers, completing 11 of 16 passes for 93 yards and 2 interceptions. The Panthers' lone touchdown came from Chuba Hubbard, as they fell to 1-6 on the season, suffering their 4th consecutive defeat. With this win, the Commanders improved to 5-2 and will look to continue their momentum against the 4-2 Chicago Bears next week. Chiefs triumph in Super Bowl rematch versus 49ers. Remain last unbeaten team in NFL. In a rematch of last season's Super Bowl, the Kansas City Chiefs defeated the San Francisco 49ers 28-18, marking their first 6-0 start in Patrick Mahomes' career. The game unfolded similarly to the championship clash, with the Chiefs once again overpowering the 49ers, who struggled with injuries to key players. The 49ers' offense Already hampered by the absence of Deebo Samuel, illness, and Christian McCaffrey, injured reserve, faced further setbacks when Brandon Ayuk suffered a knee injury just before halftime. Coach Kyle Shanahan expressed concern about the severity of Ayuk's injury, fearing it could be an ACL tear. Both quarterbacks had a rough outing, combining for 5 interceptions and no passing touchdowns. Mahomes secured the victory with a late rushing touchdown, while Brock Purdy managed 2 rushing touchdowns but was plagued by mistakes, including 3 interceptions. The Chiefs took advantage of early turnovers, including a critical interception thrown by Purdy that set up 2 touchdowns by running back Kareem Hunt. Despite moments of promise, including a strong debut from rookie receiver Ricky Pearsall, the 49ers struggled to capitalize, converting only 2 of 11 on third downs. Kansas City's defensive strategy and Mahomes' ability to evade pressure proved decisive, allowing the Chiefs to maintain control throughout the game. With this victory, the Chiefs solidified their position as the NFL's lone unbeaten team, while the 49ers dropped to 3-4, facing an uphill battle as they navigate a challenging season filled with injuries. NFL scores: Chiefs stay unbeaten versus 49ers. Commanders dominate Panthers but lose Jaden Daniels. The Kansas City Chiefs remain the only unbeaten team in the NFL after a decisive 28-18 victory over the San Francisco 49ers at Levi's Stadium. The Chiefs' defense was relentless, forcing Brock Purdy into 3 interceptions. The 49ers were already at a disadvantage with Deebo Samuel sidelined due to illness and Brandon Ayuk leaving the game with a knee injury just before halftime. Kansas City's ground game thrived, amassing 184 rushing yards. In Washington, the Commanders cruised to a 40-7 win over the Carolina Panthers. However, the game was overshadowed by the loss of quarterback Jaden Daniels, who exited early in the first drive with a rib injury and will undergo further evaluation on Monday. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Rams secured a narrow 20-15 victory against the Las Vegas Raiders. Kyren Williams stood out with 2 rushing touchdowns. The Raiders faced their own challenges, losing starting quarterback Aidan O'Connell to a thumb injury, leading to Gardner Minshew taking over for the remainder of the game.